Hey everybody, this is Fred Richani of TSC News right here on MNN, here with part 2 of our interview with WWE Hall of Famer Diamond Dallas Page. Let's pick up where we left off last week with DDP talking about this current generation of professional wrestlers.
You'll see a lot of these young kids, and the thing is, I thought that they couldn't invent any more new moves. I was wrong. They are. And one is more depth-defying than the other. Like, it's amazing to me that I've only seen one broken neck where he had to be carried out of the ring. Many of the boys and the girls have broken their necks. Edge was one of them. Dean Malenko was another. Benoit was another. Lita was another. I mean, they've all had, Bella, Nikki Bella is another. They had broken their necks and had to have fused. But I've only seen one guy have to get carried out, and that was Buff Bagwell, where they put him out in a stretcher and everything, and he was back to wrestle, still shows up at shows today at like 47. But my point is, I can't believe it doesn't happen every month, because the moves that they're doing today, like these athletes, me and Steve Austin were talking about it on his podcast not long ago, and like these athletes are better than we were. I mean, they can do more things than we could do. It's just amazing to me. I just spent some time with Johnny Morrison. I'm just going to call him Johnny for now because he can't use the Morrison name anymore. But that kid's one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen. Have you heard about his new movie called Boone the Bounty Hunter? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but I've heard about it.
Dude, watch it. It's pretty good, and it's funny. And it's meant to be funny and entertaining, but Johnny does some of the craziest stunts. It's like one of his wrestling matches. Like, he can do the flips and twists and turns because he's a gymnast when he was a kid. But what an amazing athlete he is, and he does a hell of a job acting in it because he's a little campy, but that's what he's supposed to be in this movie. We actually did a show that looks like it's going to be a Netflix original that we're both in. It's actually my show. I'll believe it when I actually hear Netflix actually, announce it. But Johnny plays one of the, we're superheroes, and they're pretty dark. And he just does some athletic stuff that's just amazing. But in Boone, he does it all through the movie. But you should definitely have people, if you're listening right now, go to iTunes, go to Boone the Bounty Hunter, check it out.
Dude, you mentioned Netflix. You obviously have your documentary on Netflix, which is pretty awesome. Knock on wood, this whole thing works out with Netflix and John Morrison and everything. But also, at the time we're recording this interview and when it airs, it's going to be around the time that the new Glow series airs on Netflix as well. It's a Netflix original series done by Genji Kohan, who also did Weeds and Orange is the New Black. Could Diamond Dallas Page have any involvement in that show?
With Glow, you never know. I like I say, I've heard about it. I don't really know. If Gods and Secrets does get picked up, it will definitely, it could change my whole life. It's one of those things that, if it actually really happens, I always say to myself, I don't ever think, I want this to happen so bad. I want something to happen when it's supposed to happen. And it was just like my Hall of Fame induction. This year, 4 days before my 61st birthday, I mean, it couldn't be a better time, and I looked at Danny Trejo when I started my acting career. My first film was 98. I was 41. And, I decided that at some point in my life, I'm going to be a working actor, which means not to be The Rock, who I am so proud of, the biggest star in the world. Also super proud of Batista, who just killed it in Galaxy 2. Nash is killing it. In the Detroiters, he has a role in that, but he's got a bigger part this year. And now he's filming his own series that he's one of the entourage called what's it called? Living the Dream. And I was offered a part on it, but I couldn't make my schedule work. But I would have loved to have worked with Kev. But, guys from our world are now transitioning. And Vince does it all the time with having different guys come out and play different roles in different movies that WWE Films does. But, for us who are out there trying to become that working actor, I'm really only doing it to show what's possible, because, becoming a wrestler at 35, ending my career Hall of Famer, doing, creating a workout like DDP Yoga for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. Like, I never tried to turn any of the yogis onto it because it wasn't for them. I developed for the people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. And then making it, like right now, it's on the way to being a household name, but no one ever thought that was possible, and then the resurrection of Jake the Snake and how I could help those two guys turn their lives around and help them become Hall of Famers, which they both deserve to be there. So now it's like the acting part. It's like I want to become a working actor, which means I could survive off the money that I'm making acting. That's all that means for me. Like, that's my goal. I don't want to be The Rock or, if I was ever to be lucky enough to be in any kind of a mainstream show, that would be awesome. But that's not my goal. My goal is to get a couple of roles here and there that would pay my bills if I needed them to.
Your boy Kevin Nash, he I think is a definition of a working actor. This dude is literally in every freaking random film I turn on. Turn on Grandma's Boy, he's there. You turn on Magic Mike, he's there. I mean, that's just crazy. How much inspiration do you draw from him?
A lot. Kevin is exactly in the spot that, I would love to be in when it came to my acting career, because he works all the time. But you have to understand, a lot of people don't know this, but it's 2000, I would have been 87, 97, 30 years ago, not 30, probably 25 years ago, Kev did a movie with the Super Ninja Turtles, the Ninja Turtles, and he was Super Shredder. And he got checks for that years after. And so Kevin has literally been on the insurance of SAG Insurance, which is a phenomenal insurance. He has been SAG Insurance, the guy who's collected on that, for 25 years. Kevin's been a working actor almost the whole time, in between doing everything else he's done. Now it's at a whole different level for him, though, because he's this show right here. It's a BBC show, but it's got the legs to maybe get picked up by AMC or another channel. Who knows who it'll be? But it's an hour-long comedy. So and there's no question in my mind that he's going to kill it.
And dude, I recently saw Fozzy live. For those that don't know, that's Chris Jericho's rock band. I saw him live in Asbury and gave me newfound respect for rock bands and their cardio and how much shape you have to be in when you're performing. And I look at Chris Jericho, who I think is now 47 years old. I recently read his third book where he put you and DDP Yoga over huge for saving his career when he hurt his back on Dancing with the Stars. Just remarkable. Are you as amazed of Chris Jericho as I am, despite the fact that he did use your workout?
I was amazed coming into it that he put it over the way he did. Because I also helped Shawn Michaels originally. And Shawn's not really that promoter type of guy, but he did tell Chris Jericho about it, and it could help him. And Chris just took it to a different level because, he really, at that point, believed his career in wrestling was over, which was 6 years ago. He believed that his music career, because he was in excruciating pain. And if you watch him up on stage, he's running all over the place, jumping off things and stuff, which is the way he is in the ring. So I really believe that he believed it was over. And when I helped him get back there, he was grateful. And then I was so grateful that he didn't just keep it to himself. He told everybody about it, which is exactly what I would have done. And he really helped give DDP Yoga the real legitimacy that it deserves. And, you mentioned his playing. Like, I just listened. My wife and I were just watching the video, Judas, which right now has 3.9 million views. And it's a great song. It's incredibly well written. It's got a super sing-along part. My guy shot that video in the DDP Yoga Performance Center, and my one of my filmographers, Nathan Mallory, he directed it.
Wow! So that whole music video that's pretty much gone viral now is all in that DDP Yoga studio, the same one where you do all your workouts and everything.
Yeah, and we literally, put our handprint on it all the way through. Like, if you watch the making of that video, you'll see me come on and talk about how, Chris came. I always love the boys that come in. Like Johnny Morrison's jaw hit the ground when he got to my production studio, because that's really what it is. Like, we're a full-blown production company. Stone Cold Steve Austin's jaw hit the ground. Because when you walk in there, first of all, as you pull up, the building's super sweet looking. And then when you get inside, it's super, super cool looking. But we've got 5 edit bays. We've got a TriCaster where we can go live at any time and flip to an 8-camera shoot. We got a green screen there. We can film anything behind it. This is just, we use the backdrop that we have in the set, and then Chris brought all his, music gear in there and everything, and then him and Nathan sat down and talked about it, and how they wanted to do it, and Nathan directed it. So I was really proud of my guy. I just put a post up on that YouTube, the official Fozzy site. I just put a thing about how proud I am of these guys, not just my guys, but Fozzy and Chris, and how great the song is.
That's awesome.
I literally just text them because I want to put it part of my playlist.
We don't just cover sports here at TSC Gaming, we cover video games. And in this special throwback clip, we look back at our thoughts on WWE 2K17. And this game features the return of My Career Mode, an enhanced universe mode, and believe it or not, no more 2K Showcase mode. Meaning if you were hoping to play through the career highlights of Brock Lesnar or Goldberg, the featured stars of WWE 2K17, unfortunately, you cannot do that this year. Now, there's a chance via DLC that could change, but at the moment, it is what it is. Now let's go to the cornerstone of this franchise and the rest of 2K Sports' franchise, which is My Career Mode. In My Career Mode, once again, you have to ply your craft through NXT. You got to get down the basics, not just in the ring, not just in conditioning and how you build your character via VC, but also through promos. Promos is the biggest addition to WWE 2K17. And in this game, whether you're a face, a.k.a. a good guy, whether you're a heel, a.k.a. a bad guy, it all depends on how you do, not just in the ring, but on the mic. But it is not without some error. It's a trial and error thing. You got to know which choices to make. You'll learn as you go along. Every crowd, every audience, every opponent, every adversary is different. Each situation's different as well. But there is one flaw here. There's no voiceover work. Sure, there's voiceovers when it comes to the commentary. There's voiceovers when it comes to Coach Matt Bloom, a.k.a. A-Train, a.k.a. Tensai, who coaches you up. But when you're in the ring practicing these promos. For example, with Enzo Amore, there's nothing but dialogue, subtitles, written dialogue, no actual spoken dialogue. You're telling me they couldn't get Enzo Amore in the studio to drop some bars? You're telling me they couldn't find some generic voice, some one voice fits all, much like NBA 2K17 and NBA 2K games of the past, where you have one voice for your created character and you could do the same thing for a female? It's very, very confusing, very befuddling that they would not include this option. To me, it makes the game drag a bit when you have to go through the training. And even when you're doing this in universe mode, it was emphasized, oh, you could do promos. It's awesome. That's great and all. But I would have liked some voiceover work. Just my humble opinion. As far as the rest of my career mode, it's pretty fun. Of course, you got to grind and grind and grind in order to get to the very top. And you have the option of either staying neutral, aligning yourself with the evil authority that is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, or you could stay a good guy, much like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Now, you also have the option down the road to perhaps be a Paul Heyman guy, or you have the option of going up against Paul Heyman and facing his client, the cover star, Brock Lesnar. And yes, it is as fun as it sounds. As for universe mode, fully customizable once again. You can edit everything from who holds the titles to how many titles you have, to the shows, to what days the shows end. You could do things like delete shows, reschedule shows, add pay-per-views left and right. But it is noticeably outdated because SmackDown at the start of the game is on Thursday. And of course, SmackDown these days is on Tuesday as SmackDown Live. We also, at the time we got this game, do not have a Universal Championship, a SmackDown Women's Championship, or SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, the good news is you could go to the Creation Suite that is super duper in-depth, and you could once again edit shows, arenas, superstars, and oh yeah, championship belts. And luckily for all of us, the championship belts that have been added since the brand extension restarted are not all that different from each other. You want to create the SmackDown tag titles? Make the leather blue. You want to create the Universal Championship? Make the WWE World Championships leather red. It's not all that hard. Much like my career mode, you do have the opportunity to cut promos, but again, without any actual voiceover work, without any actual narrations, just strictly written dialogue, it is a little awkward, but it is a step in the right direction. You might also notice that with the subtitles, there's a gray background, a gray rectangular background that takes up nearly half the screen. I found this quite annoying because I've played many games, Quantum Break, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, you name it, all with subtitles enabled, and yet none of them have this awkward, gigantic, gray rectangle in the background that takes up more than half the screen. It's a minor thing, but you know what? If somebody's hard of hearing, if somebody's hard of understanding at times, I don't think they want subtitles with a gigantic rectangle. Just an aesthetic suggestion. Speaking of aesthetics, as you see right here with the menus, the UI is sleeker and way easier to navigate. The graphics, as usual, have looked pretty good for current gen. However, there is a big disparity, once again, amongst the superstars. While you have guys like Brock Lesnar, Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler, who look pretty damn good in current gen, you also have the likes of poor Dana Brooke, who looks like she face-swapped with Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Man, oh man, there's always one or two women that look a little weird, a little quirky, a little derpy, and unfortunately, Dana Brooke's model is just that. As far as hair physics, not that great as per usual WWE 2K standards. Compared to, say, EA Sports UFC 2, I really feel like they got to start catching up when it comes to hair physics, when it comes to damage. Yes, wrestling's predetermined. Yes, it's entertainment-based. But at the end of the day, outside of the usual blood effects, it would be nice to see some nicks, some bruises, and to see some improved hair physics. As far as the gameplay goes, it's very similar to the last couple of years. You have the submission system, the grappling system, the reversal system, which can be at times a hit or miss. Most of the time in this game, it is a hit. It is still a little awkward when you go to grapple somebody when they're trying to get up or they are groggy. And when you have multiple people in the ring, things can get a little awkward. In terms of frame rate issues, I had a couple frame rate issues, particularly when the camera gets a close-up of the respective superstar, as well as when I was brawling backstage as Shinsuke Nakamura against The Rock. There were also some weird things going on backstage, such as The Rock just kind of standing there for what seemed like an eternity. And with backstage brawling, it is a new mode. It is pretty cool, but for longtime pro wrestling gamers like myself, it is nothing we have not seen before. You'll notice, too, with the HUD, you have right here a rating for your match. Now, you used to only get that at times with my career mode. Now, you get that all the time. So for a company and an industry that says, oh, it doesn't matter whether somebody has a 5-star match or not, well, it sure as hell is important in WWE 2K to rise up the ranks. Personally, while it's a cool little cosmetic feature, I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Ziggler hits the jackpot with a huge move. Oh, there's no need to worry. He just hears a cover. 1, 2, 3. The referee's calling for the bell. The match is over.
So what's the verdict? Graphically, I have to give WWE 2K17 a 7.5. The entrances is where aesthetically it truly shines. I never get tired of watching The Undertaker, Sting, or Triple H make their entrance in the WWE 2K universe, but like I said before, there could be some major improvements made down the road when it comes to physics. Gameplay, I give it an 8. Sure, the gameplay has its flaws, especially in multi-person matches, but at the end of the day, once you get the hang of it, it is a whole lot of fun and not all that complicated. Content-wise, I have to give WWE 2K17 a 9. Sure, I'd love an improved promo system and the return of 2K Showcase mode, but at the end of the day, there are a myriad of options to keep every wrestling fan entertained with WWE 2K17. Overall, TSC gives WWE 2K17 an 8.2 out of 10. For more information on WWE 2K17 and more in-depth game reviews and updates, please subscribe to TSC Gaming. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you got the DDP Yoga Performance Center, and you could film anytime. I mean, Atlanta's become a pretty big hotbed for broadcasting and for setting up shop, right? I mean, with Walking Dead, and you got TNT and all these other companies there.
Yeah, it's really, it's like they call it, like the East Coast Hollywood right now because there's so much going on here. And I haven't even tried to get work here as an actor or anything yet. I just got my new headshots done, and I'm really waiting for Gods and Secrets to come out, and I probably think we're a couple of months away. If it's going to come up, I'm hoping, it could come up before the end of the year. But whenever it comes out, it'll be what it's supposed to. And that's when I'm going to put all my momentum behind my acting career. You want to have that wave. And I've seen our first episode is amazing. I mean, what we've done with the acting and it's going to remind you of a lot of things. It might remind you of it might Blade Runner a little bit. It might, the way we did some of the special effects and stuff. Arthur Borman, he really came up with a bunch of things it was like, because he's like a super nerd to all, horror and sci-fi and comic books, and he nailed it. A little of the Watchmen in there. It was very dark, and I actually have the lead spot in this spot. I mean, think of it as if Batman. Batman never gets older than 38.
Yeah.
That's the age. He's 35 to 40 years old. He never gets older than that. This sort of Batman character, better known as Nighthawk, he's 60, and he's beat up, and he drinks and smokes and takes pills, and he's a bit of a character. So we'll see where it goes. No matter what, once it gets out there, then I'll be doing some serious promotion on it because I want people to see it. And I hope it lands up on Netflix. If it doesn't, then it wasn't supposed to be there. It'll end up someplace else.
Well, certainly hope it all works out for you, man. I really appreciate the time. Before I let you go, obviously, you're all about DDP Yoga. You're doing some great things with that. The floor is yours to tell us all about what's going on right now with DDP Yoga.
Well, right now we got a sale, which is 20% off everything as far as our DVDs, but the app is the main thing. DDP Yoga Now app it's got over 150 workouts on it, from people sitting in chairs. That's where you start. So you can't tell me I can't really do your workout. It's too hard. Can you sit in a chair? Can you move your arms? Oh, guess what? You can do the workout. And I'm about to film DDPY for seniors, and that's going to be 60, 70, 80, and 90. And the first 3 workouts start in a bed. Actually, first 2 workouts start in a bed. Then there's 5 in a chair. Then there's like 4 using a chair. So again, you will never be able to tell me you can't do anything. But that's not going to come till fall. But right now we start out with our chair workouts, to our beginner, to beginner, intermediate, advanced, psycho. We got 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute workouts, hour-long workouts. I got everything. Kids workouts, prenatal workouts. The app, DDP Yoga Now, is sick. And right now you can get it 20% off for the year. It's a subscription model, and it's amazing. Plus, it's got all the food, and not just telling you what to eat, show you the ingredients, directions how to make it, and then a video of me making it. And I might be with my wife, my daughters, one of my favorite chefs, or just one of my buddies who's lost a bunch of weight, and this is how they cook. Then we got all the inspirational stuff up there, Motivational Mondays. Every week, something new coming at you with another angle of what's happening in the world that can inspire you to stick with it. And then all our tracking, the pictures, the measurements, the weight, the pain index, blood pressure, blood sugar, A1C. I mean, we've got it all. So that's all on DDP Yoga Now, or I should say it's all on DDPYoga.com. And that's where it's at, man. So, Freddie, it's been your pleasure as usual, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, man. At RealDDP on Twitter, at DDP Yoga on Twitter, DDPYoga.com. As always, DDP, thanks so much for the time. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, right here in MNN. Until next time, everybody, enjoy the games.